Hey, everybody. Welcome to Keep It Spiritually Simple. I'm your podcast host, Sandra McEllis. And today I am so fortunate to have Jill Jackson on. She is the author of this amazing book, Children to the New Earth. Um, Something I wholeheartedly believe in. I gave birth to one who was talking to the other side. She's 33. So we have a lot of layers of births happening to pave the way for the new kids that are coming in and that are currently here, and how do we best support them. So don't miss any upcoming episodes. This is going to be a meet and greet with Jill. She's going to come back on at a later date and share some more information. So hit that subscribe. We love your likes and your comments. It does help the show have algorithm, so it has movement. So welcome, Jill Jackson.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so happy to be here too. We met in Sedona at an event, and I was just so drawn to your talk that you were having about the energy and the vibration of these new kids. And we had a private chat afterwards about, we had to raise our energy before they came in because, we were the children from before coming in, and each generation is going to bring more and more. So I know that a lot of this information was brought to you through interviews, through personal experiences, through channeling. Tell the audience a little bit about how this book came about and how you came about to
Yeah,
being the adult
absolutely.
Jill Jackson that you are.
Absolutely. I consider myself an indigo. The indigos are the way showers. We are the ones who started questioning many different dogmatic religion, traditional school. We are the advocates for justice. And so I've always been familiar with the term indigo and, of course, the crystal children. And I believe Lee Carroll in the 70s or maybe 80s was channeling about the indigos. So I've always been familiar with starseeds. I'm a starseed. And in 2014, I started channeling about the children called the Golden Ray children. And Spirit was giving a transmission that they would start arriving around 2015. Now, when they give the years, it's just like anything else. Nothing is absolute. Of course, you're going to have some that could have possibly been born in 2013, 2014, but predominantly, I was told between 2015 and 2025. And that the difference was they had never had a lifetime on this planet, or if they had, it had been one or two lifetimes, but they were very wise. They have had their lifetimes on other planets, other star systems, and they were going to be very confused by humans and humanity because they're coming in on the 12th ray and their vibration is so high. But like you mentioned, Sandra, those of us that were the visionaries and the way showers had to lay that foundation for them to be able to arrive on these higher rays.
Yeah, it's almost like we had to build the airport and the runways in order for them to land.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah,
I love that.
that just came to me.
Love it.
Um, but yeah, I like you, indigo, before I ever knew what an indigo was, just questioning things, sitting back and just listening and observing, going, something's just not right here. I'm not on the same program as my parents and my siblings. What is going on here? But had no one to talk to or share it with. So I just considered myself odd. Although
Right.
I lived with the energy of always being able to communicate with babies and pets and really some of the other side, but now we've got these kids coming in with all these antennas in place.
Yes, they come in already awakened. For many of us and many of your listeners, you can look back to some type of catalyst that really was the trajectory to get us on our path. Even though we were born sensitive, we were born eccentric and different, there was still a catalyst that really got us to propel on our path. But these children are coming in already with advanced knowledge, wisdom. They're asking questions at such a young age. They're coming in telepathic already. And it's just amazing. And so many parents out there are really struggling with creating these safe containers and at the same time providing proper boundaries for these children, these wise children.
Yeah, and I think we also hit one of those platforms, back in the early 90s. My daughter's a 92. And, it was a few years later that all this ADD, ADHD, and all that started coming in. And I just noticed from friends and others, every time I would talk to a parent, regardless of how many children they'd have, they'd always say their 92 baby was different. I was able to put all that together. Um, and so I think we went through one of those little pit stops. Now, that one just had a baby. So I can't wait to meet this new one. They live across the country. And she already can pick up that this new little one is a lot more advanced than she ever was.
Wow. So your daughter sounds like a crystal ray.
Interesting you say that, because when she started finally admitting that she had some stuff going on, we went to a talk in Virginia, and as the gentleman got up to speak, he asked everyone to hold on, and he literally walked over to her and came down and told her not to be afraid of the energy, and that she was uh, a crystal healer something,
Yeah.
and and came through an indigo. And that's when I was like, well, I kind of figured that one out, but thanks,
Yeah. Yeah.
But then she started going, oh, and she doesn't like labels. So she's
Right.
just like, I'm no different than anybody else. I just learned it a different pathway. So yeah, now she's had a baby, and I just can't wait to go just observe him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he would be either a golden ray or a solar ray starseed.
Mhm.
And that's going to be quite fascinating for you to really tune into him.
Yes,
That's
yes.
amazing.
So, what can we do, regardless of whether we know or don't know that we're indigo parents or grandparents, right? What can we do here and now to best support the energies that are flooding our planet?
Hold our consciousness as high as we possibly can. And it's so challenging because there is such chaos on our planet. And it feels many times like your head is on a swivel. You wake up to a new set of insanities and more chaos each day. So it's really important for us to create a practice of connecting with our higher self and also connecting with Mother Nature. I know for myself, going outside and earthing, which means we take our feet and just put it on the grass and the dirt, and but we set our intention when we're doing that to connect. We have chakras in the bottom of our feet that connect to Mother Earth. And we just imagine that any energy that no longer serves us is released through the bottom of our feet. And then Mother Earth just fills us up. And then tree hugging, they made fun of us in the 60s and 70s. But I'm telling you, I love hugging trees because you can feel the energy coming through the trees as well. So it's just important to disconnect from mainstream media as much as we possibly can because it is a narrative of fear-based food. And it's really important that we do not ingest fear into our vibration.
So, would you say that that would require us to maybe adapt some different practices? There are a lot of people that can't get their feet on the earth. I know over the years, I've suggested to clients just go buy some potting soil, maybe organic, or if you can find dirt from somewhere and just put it in a little container and occasionally just put your feet in it,
Yes,
and then stare out the window and visualize yourself, because you can generate the same type of energy without it being rooted, but
right.
you're in that dirt, and then you can just cover it up and go wash your feet in the bathtub.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yes. What about would you say like high vibrational foods, more outdoors, and of course we know the importance of more sunlight.
Yes, and especially for the solar ray star seeds who started incarnating around 2020, give or take a couple of years, but they are connected to the galactic central sun, but still require a tremendous amount of sunlight. And when I channeled information from Solomon, which is a ninth dimensional Palladian that I channel, Solomon explained that the increase in the solar flares is actually beneficial for those of us who have increased our vibration when we're able to hold more light in our frequency, that the solar flares are cosmic codes of expansion. And for those who maybe have chosen to stay anchored in the third dimension, there may be health challenges to navigate through the solar flares. But it's really important for us not to be afraid of the sun and the sunlight. And absolutely, that's so positive. High vibrational music. I love 963 hertz. Listening to that with earbuds in literally can shift your frequency in 5 to 7 minutes, such a short amount of time. And then, like you mentioned, Sandra, high vibrational food that has been rooted in Mother Earth is so important. Food has energy to it, and that's what a lot of people sometimes don't realize is everything that we ingest in our bodies has an energetic frequency to it.
Yeah, and I was raised on blessing your food, but it was always like giving thanks for the food. And as I got older, I started realizing that just pausing for that moment did multitude of things. One, it prepared my digestive tract for relaxation. Two, it brought me into the mindful moment that I'm about to take in this food and to calm myself. And three, I was molding with the frequencies of the food so that my body could assimilate it better and deeper. So even when I can only have a little bit of something, I am working on those blessings. And I would suggest that all of us that are getting out there are listening to Jill's suggestions and then setting that intention to just be so mindful and conscious of all the things that we say, do, think, feel, and create in our environment, because it reverberates out. Now,
Yes.
it's funny when you were talking about the interferences, because here we have all this beauty of these beautiful landings of these frequency children. But again, I guess planes are the theme of my day. So when your plane is way above the clouds, you're away from all the storms. It's pretty free sailing. But when you got to land on Earth, you got to come down underneath the clouds. And then the turmoil starts in the middle of multiple different storms in many different directions and land on the Earth. So we need people who are Earth experienced to be super grounded and receiving these energies, regardless of if it's a niece or nephew being born, it's a neighbor's child being born, it's a friend of a friend's child being born. I believe this goes for animals too.
Oh, I agree. To me, they're more vibrationally higher than humans. And what you're speaking of, Sandra, I call the New Earth ambassadors, because we are the way showers who have a soul contract to really keep a grounded energy and to hold space and to help anchor the bridge for those who are still making that conscious choice, because it is a free will choice, to leave the dense energy of the third dimension and to walk across that bridge and integrate the frequency of the fifth dimension. But those of us who have been on this path for many, many years, and those viewers who are tuning in, many of us have that soul contract. And that's something really to honor and be proud of, is to hold that grounding energy for the bridge.
And it comes into the perfect timing of where we are in 2026, that many people are feeling the energetic need to make changes.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want this job anymore. I don't like my zip code. I don't want to do the same daily grind. I would like some more fulfillment, not just excitement, fulfillment in my life. So taking the time to contemplate what that might look like for you, and then to have the courage to step into it. But until those changes can be made, how do you as a person ground yourself so that you're in the midst of all this thinking of change, and set the intention and aligning yourself with that energy? What would you suggest for people? Because not everybody can go, oh, I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to move houses, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's like, okay, but while you're strategizing, everywhere you go, there you are. So what energy do you want to start right here and now? What would you
Absolutely.
suggest?
Well, in the book before this book, The Manifesting Your Magic in the 5D, I
Yes.
really give a lot of pointers about doing our shadow work. Because what happens is we get so excited, we have an event or a catalyst that leads to our spiritual awakening, and we really start reading so many great books and studying spirituality and learning to use a pendulum and maybe oracle and tarot cards, and that's all exciting and it's a lot of fun, but it's really important to do our own shadow work because every single one of us has traumas that have been buried in the subconscious mind that come out as triggers. And what happens is until we really have the courage, and you mentioned it a few minutes ago, is having that courage to move forward, but there's also courage in facing our shadows because it's a lot of time and energy and sometimes challenges, but the benefits far outweigh it because when we can clear out those proverbial cobwebs in the subconscious mind, it helps us get more clarity to reach the superconscious, which is the quantum. And during that process of facing our shadows, our soul's blueprint many times starts appearing for us without much effort. And then that in turn creates the energy through the spiritual law of action to help us move forward without it feeling so scary and unfamiliar. It's baby steps. Spirit keeps telling me that the energy of the turtle is needed right now for every single one of us to really, as much as possible, to slow down. And that feels like an oxymoron because it feels the very opposite of slowing down. It feels like everything is speeding up for us, but it's that intention of really, I call it a sacred pause or taking a sacred breath and just allowing to be in that now moment gives us space to move forward.
Yeah, very, very well said. And I think needed to be heard even by someone like myself. We are in the year of the fire horse, and a lot of people misinterpret that as we're supposed to be racing. And we've already got, you know, the time changing constantly and things glitching and transformation going on behind the scenes, but we as 3D humans have to live in it. So how do we best navigate that with as much grace and ease? If not, I mean, it would just feel better just to taser ourselves. But let's talk real quick. Before being the author of Manifestation in 5D and Children of the New Earth, who is Jill? How did Jill get to be Jill? And was there some things happening in your younger years that kind of were pivotal and taking you in this direction? Because stepping out into this limelight, stepping out into, things way before things have been accepted, and I'm right there with you. I
Yeah,
used to have to zip it because I'm like, oh, nobody's ready for this. Yeah, I
yeah.
can't do it. And I don't have my neck out there quite as far as you do, but and as successful as you are. But who's Jill?
I was born a medium, and in my very first book is Mississippi Medium from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead, and that whole energy of being raised in the church. Mississippi has more churches per capita than any other state, but at the same time, being able to see the spirit world. And the interesting thing was, it wasn't until my grandmother passed away when I was 12 that I had the first telepathic communication with a spirit communicator. I could see them going back to, I remember 2 and 3 years old, seeing them walking around the house. But I didn't know what they were there for. But the first time I had a conversation was with my grandmother. And when she passed away, she woke me up. She was floating above my bed in full form. And she told me then there's nothing to be afraid of and how amazing the other world is and that she's not sick anymore. And from that moment on, I lost some of the fear around it. And I went back and forth, Sandra, from either feeling like everybody could see the other world, but at the same time, kind of having an inner knowing that maybe that wasn't the case. So even during high school, I only had one friend who knew of my gifts. And for the rest of my friends, they had no idea. And coming out with my first book, I really had to do a lot of my own shadow work and thinking about what are my friends that I went to school with going to think when, they didn't know me as a medium, but I've always been a medium.
Wow. So were you obviously your parents are religious? Were you raised with both parents or just one?
I was raised with both parents, and interestingly enough, my mother was also a medium. She's in spirit now, but she was raised in the church herself. So it's just this generational. That's what you do in the South. You go to church on Sundays. So she had that similar dichotomy where she kept a lot of who she was private from her life in the church. But I was blessed in that way where she understood my gifts. The night my grandmother was floating above my bed, I ran into her room and told her, and she said that her mom had been in there visiting her before. And for the next 3 nights, her mom would come into her room and open her jewelry box and it would play the music. And she was just letting both of us know that she was good and to help us with our grieving process. So I was blessed in that way. And then my dad is very psychic and he has questioned the church for many years. And so he's always had that inner knowing that he believes in a higher power, but he did not buy into the dogma. So I had a very interesting upbringing with both of my parents and then with religion at the same time.
Well, I'm really happy you had that support system, and then you're able to, as you go through the multiple decades since then, you're able now to really connect and share what's happening here on Earth, and then also the bringing in of these new amazing souls that are here. And I think it's important to say, that they are first, maybe only had one or two incarnations here, if that. Because if you've ever met an old soul, and I don't know if that's even the right terminology, but a soul that has repeatedly gone through their lessons here, I know I'm one of them. But
Yeah.
when I meet a newer soul, I recognize it and I have to step back because
Yes.
unless they're ready to ask for assistance or subliminally get something from me, I have to step back and realize that they have to learn. But I've never really, I don't think officially met one that's only had their first incarnation here. So it's going to be interesting playing with these new little babes that are going to be around and that are
Yes.
around.
Well, and what's interesting is the newer souls that you're referring to are very different than the star seeds that arrived on the 12th and 13th rays because they're very old souls themselves. They've just been on other planets.
Okay.
So their knowledge is their wisdom is beyond what even we can understand many times. So it's very different than meeting a new soul, even though they're a new soul to earth. So that's going to be the challenge for parents and grandparents and educators, just as with your grandson that is newly arrived here on this planet. Very wise will be the wisdom, the things that come out of their mouths are just how would you have an awareness of that? So they bring such knowledge with them, yet they will look at humans as aliens sometimes because the actions with humans choosing the path of division and war and anger is so foreign to them that they cannot comprehend why many humans are still engaging in those types of behaviors.
Do you think that, as we already know, at least through the baby boomers all the way up, how, indigos and crystal healers and so many other, and then now the star seeds and now these new beings coming in, each time we're having this influx, are we helping to assist to heal Mother Earth so it supports a non-war? Because I also know that we're stepping more into the feminine energy of it, and that kind of commands more balance in the masculine and in the feminine. But war is much more of a masculine energy. Do you think that will help dissipate that?
Absolutely, and that's part of their mission. And especially the solar rays, you mentioned the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Part of their mission is they carry a frequency in their DNA to help people remember that within each one of us, we embody Christ consciousness and Sophia consciousness equally, or we have that opportunity to embody both. And that is very opposite from the dogmatic religious teachings where it's very male dominated and does not even mention the teachings of Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary and so many Kuan Yin, so many prominent feminine wisdom teachers as well. And so the solar rays, I was so excited when I channeled that information that they carry that in their frequency, and just being around them will help
Mm.
people start remembering and reawakening to that knowledge within themselves.
So what I'm seeing is scales, like the weights of scales, like a Libra scale, and it's been very off, and I see it wanting to come back up and balance out. And if anyone that's listening has gone through heart awakening or awakening to realize that this world just isn't what it was made out to be, um, and you start getting into that heart, it really cracks things open where you become super sensitive to just about everything. Everything seems harsh for a little while. So many of us who have been on this field have almost retreated and gone on our development in a solo kind of way. But I believe that we're here with another portal opening up, another gateway where we're coming out and starting to meet more people who have been inward. And it's going to create even more of a support system for not only each other who's been here, but for those who are now awakening and the new little babes who are coming in.
Absolutely. And you nailed it, Sandra, because whenever we do our inner work, and you're right, so many of us just felt the need to retreat because when you start this awakening, everything does seem so harsh, and it is in so many ways. But when we start connecting with others of like mind, then that frequency ripples out. And then it does over time start affecting the collective as well. So it's so important that we remind ourselves with grace to keep our vibration high. And then everything is connecting through coherence and a frequency. So when our vibration is high and we are walking our authentic truth, then the frequency calls out other light workers who then connect with us. And it helps us to feel that we are being witnessed when we can talk to each other and to be able to share our experiences and not feel as alone on this journey. So thank you for your podcast. It's so important for us to really know that there's others out there that are going through some of the same challenges that we've been through as well.
Yeah, I think there'll be more abilities to grab microphones and to share with each other across the world. Our experiences of going inward and being able to come back out stronger, more in love with ourselves, more in love with the world. And it starts with the individual, because this is the only control dials that you have are within this, etheric and physical body. It's the only thing you can control in this world. And so making your life a happy life and not having a lot of karmic regrets, simply bathe yourself in forgiveness and love, and then look at everything differently. You look and hear and see, sense and feel things differently. And you want to create this just energy of love everywhere you go. Every footprint that you make is filled with love and sharing love. Every word, every breath that you take, and then being in nature as much as possible, I think is very important too. And like I said about the dirt in the bucket, if you can't get out in nature a lot, look at a nature video or look at a nature book and just start visualizing all the beauty that's been placed in that book, and then bathe yourself in that too. And that just by itself, Jill, I think raises vibrations to the point where you're attracting more of that vibration to you.
Absolutely. Everything is energy. If every single person on the planet understood that everything has an energetic signature, even inanimate objects, think about how things would change. Because if we do something intentionally, and that's why the Native Americans, through rituals and ceremonies, created such a place of calmness and centeredness, and taking that moment and that intention to be in that now moment, we can learn so much because, like you mentioned, it's all about setting that intention, and that intention raises the vibrational frequency.
Totally. And you know what? We're here to play with the energy and just make it a game and enjoy it. And in that joy, you're already raising your vibration,
Yes, yes,
just being in that
absolutely.
joy. Now, I want to respect your time because I know you are so busy right now. So let's tell our viewers where they can find you, where your website is, some of the things that you offer.
Yes, my website is just my name, JillMJackson.com, and I offer online programs. There, the latest one that has been channeled through is about alchemy and facing our shadow and also life purpose, and I'm really proud of that one. It's called Manifesting Mastery. And then every year, starting in January, I have very intensive programs. So be sure to go on the website. I have a free newsletter, and my books are on there. There's a books tab on the website, and I offer readings as well. Oh, and there's a High Vibe Tribe that we
Ooh.
have people from all over the world. We have somebody from Australia, Canada, all over the United States, and we get together 3 times a month live, and we have different events every month that changes, and that's been amazing as well.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I was as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I think I need to be a part of that.
Yes, yes.
You
I
know,
will send
but
you the link,
please do
Sandra. It's
because
really cool.
it's like you're not necessarily going to find all the high vibing with neighbors and
Right.
adjacent zip codes, but the power of social media and the power of Zoom just brings people together, and you meet each other, and you can become instant besties,
Yes.
or just be distant and observe and still love and respect each other. And so thank you for bringing that together and for all the work that you do and for the books that you do, because I know everything's labor intensive because we live in linear time. and and there's just a lot of things and steps that you got to go through just to get one book out you know
Yes.
so I just honor and respect that and appreciate, and I'm just so happy I was able to meet you and connect with you, and thank you for the time that you're giving us today. And is there anything you'd like to leave with the viewers before we sign off?
Remember your divinity and remember your sovereignty. And like you mentioned earlier, Sandra, we have a choice each day. We can choose joy. We really can. If we can start our day with gratitude, then that helps shift our vibration right from the beginning. And it's so important for us to practice discernment and to know that love always wins. So, and thank you again, Sandra, for inviting me on. I'm so happy that we connected with each other in Sedona. And thank you for all that you do as well.
Well, thank you, sister. I do appreciate you. All right, everybody, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And every like is important. And we will see you on the next video of Keep It Spiritually Simple. Say goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, everyone.